The NFL, the league that is currently the king of American sports, doesn't appear to have any signs of slowing down. Americans have embraced the MLB and NBA in the past, but right now the NFL stands alone as the most popular league in the United States. But as the years have gone on, the league seems to look more and more different every year. From player safety concerns to rule exploitations that the league wants to erase, some changes are for the best. But at what point do rule changes and looser restrictions threaten the integrity of the very sport the NFL is centered around? While Roger Goodell sees a sport that is exploding with popularity, he may be overlooking the long-term effects some significant changes will have on the future of football. Hi everyone, my name is Cernk, and today I'm going to go over the changes the NFL has implemented or plans to implement and what effects they could have long-term, not just on the NFL, but on football as a whole. While on the surface, some changes may look flashy or earn more money for the short term, the effect down the road could cause more problems than it solves. If you enjoy this type of content, be sure to leave a like and let me know what you think about each of these changes, or if you were even aware of their impact on the game of football. And with that being said, let's get right into the video. Ever since the first organized football game was played back in 1869, football has been played amongst Americans wherever there's a large open field that's relatively flat. No matter what level you look at, if it's pro, college, or even high school, there's bound to be a lined field somewhere within walking distance that's ready for anyone to play football on. Initially, football was embraced for the physicality and both the physical and mental toughness that it takes to play the sport. But as the sport has grown, leagues around the United States have embraced the game becoming faster and more tactic-based. This makes for an easier watching experience, which brings more fans into games, which leads to better environments for players to experience. A big part of this change was the introduction of artificial turf, as it is easier to maintain and allows for faster movement compared to a natural surface. Artificial surfaces have been around for a long time, and because of conflicting injury data, I'm not going to come here and argue which surface is safer to play on. And any questions about whether turf fields take away from the identity of football, it just comes down to what you prefer: physical football or pretty football. However, one change to playing conditions that has been blindly accepted, which threatens the identity of the sport, is indoor football stadiums. Indoor football stadiums allow games to continue regardless of weather conditions, as well as provide a safer environment for players in the cases of extreme heat. While indoor stadiums help logistics of the NFL as a business, it completely unravels the very foundation that football is built on. Football was created as an outdoor sport. I'm going to repeat that and emphasize it. Football is an outdoor sport. Yes, weather delays are unfortunate, but that is supposed to be a part of the experience and some of the adversity you go through when playing. Have you ever watched a game played in a blizzard or a rainstorm, or a game where a team can't throw because of extreme wind? That's football. Sports are supposed to be filled with drama, and the weather is supposed to be something you game plan for and test your team's mental toughness. When you focus too much on controlling the environment you play in, you aren't allowing players or fans to get the full experience of what it means to play football. Players dream of playing football for a living, and when you attempt to control the environment, you take away a huge part of what made players fall in love with the sport. The NFL wants to make football a better TV product, so they have no concern about NFL owners increasingly building massive domes. Teams like Pittsburgh, Cleveland, Green Bay, and Buffalo are all historically places that teams are terrified to play in once winter rolls around. This gives northern teams a home field advantage in cold games and southern teams a home field advantage when it's warmer out, because neither side is acclimated to each other's weather. Weather creates uncertainty and another reason to tune in and see how each team responds to the adversity. The NFL is approaching a scenario where their embrace for a better looking television product instead of a sport with a unique identity is going to create a league where every game looks the same. If the NFL allows this to continue, fans will become bored by the sport and the NFL will begin to see drops in revenue. The NFL obviously has a ton of motivation to continue increasing their revenue, so this should be something they should keep in mind. However, there is one change the NFL has continually made to increase revenue that has shut some fans out in the process. Part of what created so much popularity for the NFL was the easy availability for casual fans to sit and watch their local teams every Sunday. However, because of the limitations of only playing daytime games on Fox and CBS, any fan who moved to a new state didn't have easy access to watch their favorite team. The solution to this problem? It was NFL Sunday Ticket, where you get access to every game and could pay an upfront cost to make sure you don't miss any games from your favorite team. This is a great solution for fans of one team or big-time fans who just wanted to have access to watching every NFL game that week. Until the league made some changes. As streaming platforms became more popular and wanted to drive more people to subscribe to their platform, they began making the NFL offers to have games featured with them. Roger Goodell and other executives saw this as an opportunity to continue their outreach to new fans and receive more revenue for games they wouldn't have received otherwise. Amazon Prime started by getting rights to Thursday Night Football, which was followed by Netflix and Peacock, who now have exclusive games a couple of times per year on their streaming platform. This took games away from Sunday Ticket holders every year, which as a result should make it less expensive. But you would be wrong for thinking that. Sunday Ticket cost around $270 in 2021 with DirecTV, and it now costs about $370 to $420 with a subscription to YouTube TV. You now get the least games ever offered by Sunday Ticket, and you're paying nearly double what you paid 5 years ago before this was a problem. With less offered by the product and an enormous price increase, there's absolutely zero reason to buy Sunday Ticket unless you own a business. And it is completely unfair to price out these businesses because they are aware that it is an integral part that they make sure they have all the games on Sunday. Not only does it make a more expensive product less valuable, if you wanted to have every NFL game available to you at home, you would have to start with YouTube TV, where membership is $83 per month, and you would need to have that through the Super Bowl, which is in February. Add in the cheaper version of NFL Sunday Ticket as a returning user will use $378. Because Amazon Prime now has a playoff game, you'll need 6 months of a $15 subscription to run you up to $90, plus the subscription cost of 1 month of Peacock for $11, Netflix for $8, and ESPN Plus for $12. Add that all up and it will cost you about $1,080 just to watch every NFL game from your house. That is absolutely unheard of. And that's assuming only one playoff game will be a streaming exclusive. It's not only greedy, but think of the elderly fans who just want to watch a football game, but can't figure out how to navigate all these platforms to find their game. It will be interesting to see what Sunday Ticket sales look like at the end of this season, as actual NFL ticket prices have dropped this year because of lower demand. The NFL is in danger of pricing the average fan out of their sport and making it an event sport the way boxing is now. You might think they're a long way out from this, but the Super Bowl has already priced the average fan out. And when you threaten a fan's ability to watch games, especially on TV, you are severely impacting the future of your league, because people will begin leaving for alternatives like college football if this continues. I haven't even mentioned how expensive licensed gear is or how ruthless their copyright enforcement is. Part of their motivation is greed, but some of it also comes from larger player contracts that the team needs to pay. These contracts not only impact pricing for fans, but they also can harm the future of the sport. The NFL's salary cap has been a tool used to limit how much a team can spend each year on players to prevent super teams from being bought by the richest owners. I won't go into much detail about how the salary cap works, but all you need to know is that every year, for the most part, the salary cap increases. And in 2025, it was $279.2 million for each team. For perspective, $279.2 million to cover a 53-man roster leaves about $5.27 million per player on average. But obviously paying more to starters and less to backups and less vital positional players. The problem is that recently contracts for certain position groups have become out of control because NFL rule changes have made their position more important than others. Quarterback has become such an important position in the NFL that you will be fired as a GM if you can't figure out one position but nail every other one. Wide receiver, defensive end, and cornerback are position groups that are next in line as a priority for GMs. Every other position in the NFL is underpaid relative to those position groups, with a few exceptions. The problem teams are running into is that the league is so reliant on quarterback that the players' agents know they have all the leverage. If a quarterback so much as has a mediocre season, the agent knows the GM's job is resting on how good his QB is, and if he leaves, he's going to have to frantically search for a new one. This has led to a massive increase in the salary cap share going to quarterbacks. For scale, in 2012, Drew Brees was the highest paid player with a 5-year, $100 million contract, paying him about $20 million per season. At the time, the salary cap was about $120.6 million, meaning Drew took up about 16.5% of the team's money for the year. Taking up a large portion of the cap space is acceptable as long as your play is taking away from the need to pay other positions as much money, because your play is at such a high level. Increasingly, we are seeing QBs take more than their fair share of the team's salary cap, and their team is spiraling out of control as a result. In 2026, Dak Prescott is set to make a large portion of his 4-year, $240 million contract, with about a $74 million cap hit next year. That is estimated to be about 24% of the NFL's salary cap, a 7.5% jump from 2012. I bring up 2026 because that's when CeeDee Lamb's top of the market receiver contract is set to make him about $38.6 million, or about 12.6% of the estimated salary cap. To pay two players top of the market money at quarterback and wide receiver in the NFL today, it will cost teams about 37% of their money, leaving just 63% of the remaining money to pay the other 51 players on the roster. That drops the average contract size for the remaining players from that $5.27 million I talked about to $3.32 million. Agents negotiating these enormous contracts for average players because they play an important position puts the team in a terrible spot for the future. Teams are unable to pay other good players in other positions because of bad contracts, which forces teams that fold in negotiations to draft perfectly year after year. These massive contracts have led to what we are seeing in the NFL now, where I can split teams into 4 different groups. One group who pays top of the market in important positions for a few players, and the players come through. One group that pays top of the market to important positions, but the players don't come through. A group of teams who don't pay top of the market to every important position, but have a great all-around team. And a group who can't land top of the market players at important positions and are just bad. Looking at the NFL today, there are about 5 teams in this first group, 8 teams in the second, 7 teams in the third group, and there are about 12 teams in the last group. That leaves us with about 12 teams that can seriously compete and 20 teams that can't, because I either signed guys to bad contracts in desperation or can't find an elite quarterback, so they are left to keep drafting rookie quarterbacks year after year. Football in the NFL used to be popular because of the parity involved and the team aspect of the sport, but increasingly, enormous contracts are not only threatening the competitive ability of many NFL teams, they are also creating barriers for new teams to be competitive in a given year. The crazy thing is, the biggest contracts for quarterbacks aren't even going to the best at their position. Even though they're still receiving what I would consider top of the market money, Dak, Matt Stafford, Joe Burrow, Lamar Jackson, Kyler Murray, Geno Smith, Kirk Cousins, Tua, Max Crosby, and Justin Herbert are all making more money than Josh Allen this year, and 3 other players are making more money than Patrick Mahomes. Of those players I mentioned making more money than Josh Allen this year, 4 of them made the playoffs last year. This just goes to show that big contracts to elite players nets results, where big contracts to mediocre players in important positions ruins a team's chance to compete. I understand players want to set up their family for life, but you can easily do that with a $50 million contract over a 4-year period and still have plenty of money to waste. These contracts aren't about families or futures, these are about greed. So the more NFL GMs bend to these greedy agents, the more the NFL loses its identity, where every team has a chance to compete. Either a team can't land a top player, or a team signs a player to a contract that sets the franchise back for a decade, and the team is unwatchable. This is yet another red flag the NFL needs to be wary of before the problem turns people away, because it becomes too businesslike and forgets the identity that it needs to uphold. Those are the topics I wanted to cover today. There are a lot of other changes I could discuss that the NFL is doing to affect the identity of football, but I didn't want to make this video drag on, so let me know what you guys think and if you want to see part 2 of this. At the end of the day, the NFL is a business, but if they continue to threaten what makes the sport fun in the first place and allow changes to go unchecked, they risk losing their popularity to other leagues and other sports. Football is beautiful because it's strategic and emotional, and anyone who has ever put a helmet on knows just how important it is that the NFL makes sure they don't forget what is most important about the sport. I want to thank you guys so much for watching. I really do appreciate it, as a lot of work goes into making these videos. Let me know what you think of these changes and if you think they threaten the identity of football. If you guys want to see more videos like this, be sure to subscribe, as I plan to make many more videos to promote discussions just like this. And thank you guys again so much for watching. I hope you have an amazing day and spread some positivity. And I will see you in the next one.